A true treasure in downtown York is the Palmer Museum. Here, over 5,000 carefully selected artifacts offer gentle cameo glimpses back into York County history. Featured is an 1870 sod house replica, Victorian living room and bedroom, covered wagon, agricultural implements including an 1860s ox yoke and horse-drawn 1920 potato planter and digger, portraits of 165 of the Civil War veterans who largely settled this area, display of an early local bank, a collection of exceptional oil paintings by York County natives, 1890s clothing and vintage wedding gowns, 1.5 million-year-old mammoth tooth found in York County, and available for viewing by appointment, an 1860 Abraham Lincoln campaign ribbon. Fred Niblo is probably York's most famous son, born in York in 1874. He went on to an illustrious career on Broadway, then to Hollywood as a pioneering film director. His Ben-Hur is still considered a masterwork. Later, he was co-founder of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and in turn, the Academy Awards. Palmer Museum houses a comprehensive compilation of his life story available to the public. Also of note is Colonel Orlando Palmer, who served in Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders, Nebraska's only known connection to that legendary unit. A special panel with original artifacts donated by Colonel Palmer is on display in the Spanish-American War Showcase. James Asher Parks, who besides being an accomplished composer, musician, singer, and teacher, also ran a thriving music publishing firm headquartered in York, Nebraska. The famed Mormon Tabernacle Choir was among an imposing roster of musical groups from all across the USA who chose the J.A. Parks label. A large showcase in Palmer Museum is devoted to Mr. Parks and his considerable legacy. And last but not least, Ben Zerson, who became the world champion chest expander, was a featured act with Ringling Brothers Circus, was in Ripley's Believe It or Not column, and was a member of the original Glenn Miller Band. He coached Jack Dempsey, later sold for Armour & Company, he was the namesake for their Big Ben soap, and finally operated a sports bar in Pander, Nebraska. This is where the historic life-size oil portrait of him, painted by David V. Manrose in 1948, originally hung before Zerson donated it to Palmer Museum, where it commands a prominent place of honor today. The Palmer Museum is located in York's Community Center at 211 East 7th Street. Hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays and by appointment. You can contact the museum by calling 402-362-1844. Admission is free and donations are appreciated. The museum is self-guided with informative labels throughout, but tours for school children and other groups are available if pre-arranged. Come spend a leisurely hour or a week at Palmer Museum listening to the heart songs of our collective ancestors.